Hey y'all, welcome back to the channel. It is your girl Amber Johnson, and we just need to have a candid conversation. Something is on my mind that I have been dealing with over the past couple of weeks, and it just needs to be said. So for those of you who are new here, again, my name is Amber Johnson. I have a mom, a wife, a content creator, and I need to share something with y'all. So over the last few weeks, I have decided to not be on social media as much. I haven't deactivated anything or did anything like super drastic or dramatic. I just have not really been posting as much as I used to. Like I was posting like 3 times a day, y'all. And here's the thing. So what I've noticed during my reflection is that I had a hard time letting go of that need to be like this boss, this I want to, be just the HBIC, right? Like let's just call it what it is. Because I thought that that's what I was supposed to be doing. But in reality, that's not what I was supposed to be doing. And being okay with what God has for you and the purpose that he has called on your life, being okay with letting go of what your idea of what your life should look like is huge. And that is what I have been dealing with, because I've had time to sit and think and be quiet. And I think a lot of people, they get so consumed with social media that they can't even hear. They can't think, they can't any of that stuff. And I talked about this on one of my posts on TikTok, is that you literally have to sit still and listen and be able to be directed and guided and using your discernment and all of these things in order to know like exactly what God has for you. And he let me know that a lot of the stuff that I was doing was not at all what I was supposed to be doing. And some of the things it wasn't for right now. And, like I said, my idea of what I was supposed to be doing was, I was supposed to be this, top producing realtor here in Ohio. And I was supposed to be, this big influencer, content creator, whatever the case may be, making all this money, big house, cars, all of this stuff. And it's like, okay, God didn't say that you couldn't have that stuff, but the way that you're trying to go about it is what you are trying to do with your efforts. It doesn't have anything to do with what God is saying or where he's leading you or how he's directing you. And so I feel like a lot of times we get so caught up in what we want and what we see on social media that we begin to get like disobedient almost. And we are the ones that are trying to like drive the boat, trying to control the situation. And it's just like, you're not in control. Because I know for me, I'm very emotional. I'm very flighty. I'm very just cannot control, okay? I bump curbs all the time. So what makes you think that I am able to drive the bus when it comes to my life, okay? So one of the things that I realized, and I gotta make me some lunch, y'all. But one of the things that I realized is that God has definitely called me to motivate, to inspire, to all of the things that the warm and fuzzy things, but he has called me to do it in a way where it glorifies him, right? To where he is the one that is shining through, not me, right? And so I think that my approach before was, kind of in the area, but not necessarily, right? So we have to be careful of, showing up for vanity. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I think one of the things that he revealed to me is that that's what I was doing. Like I was showing up on social media and, I wanted to be seen. It was more of that. It was less of, him shining through and more of just me being on there to, say, hey, look at me, I posted today, whatever the case may be. And that cannot be the case. And one thing about me is I never want to be in a situation where I'm being disobedient to what he wants me to do. And so as I have realized these things, and as I have, over the past couple of weeks gone through and just kind of just reconfigured the things that I was doing, I realized, okay, so your approach on social media needs to be different from what it was before. You can still share your life, you can still talk to people, but you have to do it in a way where it's not selfish. You know what I mean? And it's not obsessive. Because when I tell y'all, being on social media can become such an obsessive habit so quickly, you have to be extremely careful because you will be 100% consumed. And that's not any life that you want to live. So now that I'm focused on, what God wants me to do and why he has me, experiencing certain things and thinking certain things and being around certain people, it makes it a lot easier for me to say no to a lot of things, for me to say yes to things, for me to, want to be in certain rooms and not in others. And since letting go of the mindset that I had before, it has allowed for my life to be a lot more peaceful, a lot less anxiety. And one of the things that I was talking to someone about today was the fact that, sorry, I'm trying to cut this sausage, but I was talking to her today about how I was having some anxiety this morning. And the reason why I was having anxiety this morning is because I was having thoughts about, what it is that I felt like I needed to do as it relates to income and things like that, right? And what ended up happening was, I was trying to figure out, because I don't know if you guys have seen, online where, they talk about, if social media were to go down, what would you do and all of these other things. And I was just like, okay, God, if you have me on YouTube primarily and YouTube decides that it wants to shut down, like, what the heck am I going to do? Like, I need something that is not 100% based on social media for me to be able to do. And through that thought, it then spiraled into all these other thoughts. And then he brought me back to the fact that, and I actually journaled about it, but the fact that I need to trust him. Me worrying about what's going to happen to YouTube and, if I am making my money off of that, blah, 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 all this stuff, that is not me trusting him. That is not me having faith in, what he said he was going to do and the things that I've prayed and the things that I've journaled and all of these things. That is me trying to take matters into my own hands, which it has no business being in my hands. Okay, let's just be clear. Okay, so I had that revelation this morning. Well, the morning that I'm recording this, and so I'm now in a space where I'm back at peace. I'm back, not anxious and all of that stuff. And it's just like, just do what he said and stop worrying about all these other things. And so the point that I want to make to anybody that's watching this video is that if you find yourself in a place where you are stressed out, where you are having anxiety, you can't figure out, why you can't figure it out, or anything like that, you need to disconnect in however you see fit, whether it's fasting from things or food or whatever the case may be, and, you know, whatever your biggest distraction is, you know what I mean? Fasting from that, praying, getting in your word, all of these things so that you can focus on what exactly he wants you to do. Because if your mind is currently going, always going, if you're constantly talking, your wheels are churning, you're trying to figure it out, you can't hear anything because there's so much going on, right? And then you also have to come to terms with, there may be something that you're currently doing that you're not supposed to be doing, or you're not supposed to be doing it in that way. For me, there were things that I wasn't supposed to be doing at all. And earlier today, he revealed to me that there was something that I was still holding on to that I needed to let go of, because it's not something, it's literally not something I want to do. Because one thing about God is he knows us better than we know ourselves, right? And so, you know, I was thinking about, you know, I was considering doing this thing again. And he was just like, you don't even like doing that. You don't like dealing with this, and this. So why would you even do that? And it's like, oh my God, yes. So this was on my spirit. I had to share it. I'm like, this is completely like not planned, but sometimes that's the best messages, the ones that are not planned. So I hope you guys got something out of this video. I hope you liked it. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, all the things. Click the links, whatever the case may be. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.